One evening, right as the sun dipped below the horizon, my friend Bia decided she didn't want to head home just yet. Instead, she suggested staying over at my dorm in Davao. I didn't mind. My roommates were still in class, so I was all alone. For a couple of hours, we chatted about the latest campus gossip. But as time went by, we both started hearing the sound of a child's laughter and footsteps running outside my room. It was strange because no kids were around, and the dorm gate was always locked in the evenings. We tried to ignore it and continued talking, but every word we spoke seemed to be echoed by the child's giggling outside. Suddenly, the doorknob started to turn as if someone was trying to come in. We were so confused because the door wasn't locked. If it were one of my roommates, they wouldn't have any trouble since they had keys. Yet, after a few attempts, the turning stopped. Bea, who was sitting across from me on a bunk bed, looked scared. I mustered up the courage, stood up, and opened the door, only to find nobody there. Chills ran down my spine, but I quickly shut the door and played it cool to not frighten Bea more. Minutes passed without any further disturbances, and we got back to sharing school stories. That's when the door started to creep open on its own. I couldn't believe my eyes. There, standing outside, was a smiling child holding a doll. I've always been scared of dolls, and although I wanted to scream, I managed just to stare in fear. Bea looked at me, puzzled. She couldn't see the child because the door was only slightly ajar. The sight was haunting. The child had a bloody wound on the right side of his head, but kept smiling at me as though he'd just finished playing. I should have yelled or cried, but instead, I greeted him with a faint, "Hi." The child seemed like he was about to cry. Then he gently closed the door, still smiling after a few intense seconds of staring at me. I felt fear and a deep sadness for the ghostly child I had seen. "Who was that, Paul?" Bea asked, shaken by the experience. All I could respond with was, "The mysterious Playmate." Bea was visibly spooked, and I could tell. But how was I supposed to explain to her that the child I had seen was me, the younger me? All right, listeners, here's a little lesson from this spooky tale. Sometimes, the things that scare us can be linked to our past. It's important to face our fears, not with screams, but with an open heart. Who knows, maybe acknowledging our fears is the first step to understanding them. Stay brave, and until next time, keep listening for more chilling stories from the Philippines.